Tonight, the suspected shooter in the killing of Charlie Kirk now in custody. Authorities arresting 22-year-old Tyler Robinson on suspicion of aggravated murder after his father reported him to a family friend. Surveillance video that law enforcement says is Robinson climbing down from that roof and fleeing the scene. And the inscriptions on those bullet casings recovered by investigators will tell you what they said. Also tonight, pleading for peace, Utah's governor asking Americans to help stop the rise of political violence. And we talked to young people from both parties about Kirk's death to see where we can find common ground. Plus, the deadly shooting in suburban Chicago, DHS says an undocumented immigrant allegedly driving at ICE officers and dragging one with his car, shot and killed in the confrontation. Police clashing with protesters in Ecuador, authorities wielding riot shields, firing tear gas. We'll tell you what sparked the unrest. Swift deposition? A lawyer for Taylor Swift saying she could be forced to sit for a deposition in the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Will she avoid getting further sucked into one of Hollywood's biggest disputes? Ghost Pepper's goodbye, the spunky octopus with an adoring fan base online, getting an outpouring of love after entering her final stage of life. And 41 years after the premiere of Miami Vice, we take you inside the nearly week-long celebration in the 305. The suits, the cars, that iconic soundtrack, and our ride with one of the stars of the show. And the FDA now planning to link COVID shots to the deaths of more than 24 kids. The pushback and how they got to that number and why doctors say the vaccine is still safe. Top story starts right now. And good evening. We are coming on the air tonight with the words of Utah's governor, the words America waited 33 hours to hear. We got him. The manhunt for the suspected killer of conservative activist Charlie Kirk is over. Authorities say this man, Tyler Robinson, fired that fatal shot from a rooftop at Utah Valley University. Robinson is 22 years old. He lives in Washington County and is a technical school student. Authorities say his family reported Robinson had previously discussed Kirk's visit to the university where he ultimately was killed. We've also learned that it was Robinson's own father, you see him here, that helped lead investigators to his son, speaking to a family friend who then alerted authorities. Officials also releasing the surveillance footage they say is Robinson climbing down from that rooftop and fleeing the scene. The political world still reeling from the death of Charlie Kirk. This memorial outside the Phoenix headquarters of Turning Point USA, Kirk's nonprofit advocacy group. And today, a plea for the peace. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox urging Americans to choose a different path from the violence we've seen this week. And this just in, we're expecting to hear later tonight from Erica, the wife of Charlie Kirk. But we begin our broadcast with Morgan Chesky, who leads us off again tonight from Utah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
Tonight, after a manhunt that lasted just 33 hours, police say they've caught the suspect who assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, arrested for suspicion of aggravated murder and other charges. Authorities say his family turned him in.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Law enforcement sources tell NBC News that family member was Robinson's own father, who contacted a family friend, identified as a minister, and that's when local sheriffs were alerted. Robinson lives in Washington County, Utah, and is currently a student at Dixie Technical College, where he's in the electrical apprenticeship program.
Congratulations.
Video from 2021 shows Robinson reading a scholarship letter from Utah State University, which he attended for one semester.
Approximately $32,000.
Utah's governor says family members told them Robinson recently brought up Charlie Kirk's upcoming visit to the Utah Valley University's campus, saying he did not agree with him.
In the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had.
And tonight, police revealing more evidence uncovered in their investigation, including taunting inscriptions written on 3 unfired rounds they recovered. One of them reading, "Hey fascist, catch," followed by arrow symbols. Another with the lyrics of an anti-fascist song from Italy.
That's a piece of evidence that is not normal, and so it shows there was some kind of intent there to deliver a message.
Investigators also interviewed Robinson's roommate, who showed the messages they say Robinson wrote on the platform Discord, saying he needed to retrieve a rifle left behind.
The a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets.
Discord tonight saying it has found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. This morning, President Trump announcing the arrest.
I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody.
The head of Utah's DPS telling me their investigation is far from over.
Is it your belief that Robinson is the sole perpetrator in this case?
We are very confident that Robinson was the only shooter at this scene.
Authorities say Robinson arrived on campus earlier than initially thought at 8:29 a.m. wearing a T-shirt and shorts, only to leave and return in a different outfit. The same one seen in these enhanced photos, and then again later, when authorities say Robinson ran and jumped off a nearby roof to escape. Authorities say video near the scene shows Robinson drove a Dodge Challenger to the campus. Today at the family home, a Challenger was seen parked in the driveway. Tonight, family, friends, and neighbors left stunned.
And I feel for his mom. I love Amber. She's a great mom, and he has a great dad.
All of it happening as Kirk's body arrived back in his home state of Arizona. Flown on Air Force Two with Vice President Vance and Kirk's widow, Erica. Seen waving to supporters as they left the airport. With a growing memorial for Kirk in Phoenix. This message tonight from the FBI director.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk. Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Morgan Chesky joins us tonight from Spanish Fork, Utah, outside that prison. Morgan, you're standing outside, the county jail where Tyler Robinson is being held. You know, the governor has already alluded to what the punishment is here. Tell our viewers what that could be.
Yeah, Tom, he has. On multiple occasions, he said that the death penalty remains on the table. And in cases of aggravated murder, which is one of the charges we anticipate this suspect to be charged with, the death penalty still applies. As for right now, Robinson remains being inside this county jail, being held without bond, and he should be formally charged on Tuesday. Tom.
Okay, Morgan Chesky once again leading us off here on Top Story. Morgan, we thank you. For more on the case against Tyler Robinson, NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter joins us tonight. Tom, we now know that they're going to file formal charges, we think, on Tuesday. Walk our viewers through why and what we think these charges could be.
Right, so they have this window that they can hold him in custody just on the probable cause affidavit, basically what the police say they've found so far. But the advantage of this, Tom, is they can take the balance of today, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to continue their investigation. They'll be able to talk to his friends, his family, and they'll also be able to piece together a timeline of where was he from the moment he left that campus in that neighborhood until the moment that police take him into custody last night. Did he talk to anybody? Did he say anything? They can even get a jump start on his cell phone. All of that could lead to potentially more charges.
We're talking state charges. Could there also be federal charges?
There could be federal charges. We saw that in the Luigi Mangione case, another targeted killing. But the difference there, I took a look at those charges just before speaking with you tonight. There's a lot of interstate travel that Luigi Mangione he's doing. He's traveling to New York City. There's interstate stalking charges that help inform the federal murder charge. We have no indication at this point that this individual ever left Utah, so it might be difficult to find some federal tripwires to bring charges. We'll just have to see what they come up with.
And then we know the father here turned his son in, but law enforcement deserves a lot of credit, too. They worked tirelessly, and they put those images out here, which may have sparked that conversation with his father.
It's just good old-fashioned detective work. What do? You find out where the person was. You get the videos. And in this day and age, the videos and the fact that it can be spread so far and wide on social media, on our broadcasts, it allows people to be able to see this and start to say, who are we looking for? And that's the type of work, just that it's not glamorous, it's not CSI, but it does get the job done, as we saw here.
Tom Winter, we thank you. Great work all week on this one. We want to dive a little deeper into the key pieces of evidence that Morgan had mentioned. Investigators are looking to determine a motive here, and the inscriptions on the bullet are going to be so important. The bullet casings, they were found with that high-powered rifle. NBC News correspondent Stephanie Goss joins us live now. She's been looking into these messages. And Stephanie, walk our viewers through the writings of what appears to be on these bullet casings and what they ultimately mean.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've found a few references here to pop culture, to gaming, and the first one I'm going to draw your attention to are these arrows. There's a game called Helldivers 2 where players call in actions using arrows like this sequence, Tom, calls in an airstrike. The other thing that I want to point to is really a historical reference, and it's this line right here. These are the lyrics to an Italian song from the 1940s, an anti-fascist song. But these lyrics have also been repurposed by pop artists and used in a TV series, a Spanish TV series on Netflix about thieves who steal from the Spanish government. So it's while these connections are certainly there, we can't definitively say what they are.
Yeah, and then while some of the parts of these writings are up for interpretation, the governor of Utah earlier today pointed to one part that he said speaks for itself. Do we know what he's referring to?
Yeah, Tom, he was talking about this phrase right here, and you can see why he would say there's no way to read that in any other context than what is there. But it's important to say that as we look at these meetings, there's only so much extrapolation you can take, because what we don't know is what the intent was in putting the messages on the casing. But we have seen this before. We saw this in Minneapolis with the shooting at that Catholic church, Tom, and we also saw it with Luigi Mangione, who Tom Winter was just talking about before, who allegedly killed the CEO of United Healthcare. There were messages on shell casings in that crime, according to authorities.
Yeah. Little copycat action here.
Yep.
Stephanie Gosk, we thank you for that. On college campuses across the country, high alert after the killing of Charlie Kirk. In just the past 24 hours, several schools forced to lock down, including at the Naval Academy. NBC's Ryan Nobles is on the ground in Annapolis with that report.
Tonight, tension and anxiety are on the rise across America. The University of Colorado Boulder campus evacuated today, officials later determining it was a hoax. While in New York, NYU says a number of offices received, quote, racist threats of violence aimed at black members of our community. Several historically black colleges and universities have reported similar threats, leading to campus lockdowns, canceled classes, and activities postponed.
At the very top of our list has always been the safety and security of our student body.
At the U.S. Naval Academy, an online threat forcing a lockdown.
Attention. Lockdown. Lockdown.
A source telling NBC News in the midst of the frenzy, a current midshipman mistakenly thought a responding member of law enforcement was a threat, leading to an altercation where the officer shot the midshipman.
I thought this would be the safest place, considering it's a military academy. I don't know what's going on in this country right now. I don't understand.
In Washington, bomb threats were reported 2 days in a row at the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee.
You can't take chances.
Former Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger warns every threat must be taken seriously, even if most turn out to be false.
Those are the kinds of disruption that the people who initiate these kinds of calls, these fake threats, this is what they want.
And the Navy says that midshipman who was injured during the lockdown was shot in the shoulder. He was treated at the hospital and released today. Tom?
Okay, Ryan Nobles for us on that one. Ryan, we thank you. Now to a major medical headline. NBC News has learned FDA officials are expected to link the deaths of 25 children to the COVID vaccine. But doctors say evidence shows the shots are safe for kids. NBC's Ann Thompson explains.
A new salvo tonight in the fight over who should get COVID vaccines this year. A source confirming to NBC News that FDA officials will present data they claim links 25 deaths of children to the COVID vaccine. The presentation will be made to the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee, a development startling health officials.
I think what we're going to see is a fountain of lies, junk science, and fear-mongering.
Fears based on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s comments before he was Health and Human Services Secretary.
This is the deadliest vaccine ever made.
3 sources tell NBC the FDA's data comes from the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, or VAERS, run by the CDC. Anyone can report an event, but that doesn't mean it was caused by the vaccine, as is emphasized many times on the website. The CDC collects information to see if a pattern should be investigated. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary last week.
We're talking to the primary sources, the family members who lost a child. We're reviewing the autopsy reports.
The Vaccine Integrity Project reviewed the scientific data from last COVID season.
Did you find any evidence that it's causing deaths in children?
We
In our review, we did not find any new evidence that linked the COVID vaccine to safety around deaths and mortality.
Jackie Matthews, mom of 2 boys, including a cancer survivor, wants them to get the vaccine.
I do wholeheartedly believe that our symptoms would be more manageable and potentially keep us out of the hospital and hopefully keep us from dying.
Okay, with that, Ann Thompson joins us. Ann, I want to talk about another headline that we had just last Friday, too, which was a report in the Wall Street Journal that said that RFK Jr., they were going to put forward a report showing, and they were alleging this, that pregnant women who take Tylenol, there might be an autism link there. We reported this out. There's an update tonight, right?
There is. Kenvue, which is the maker of Tylenol, some of their officials met with Secretary Kennedy this week to talk about this issue because all the science, Tom, has shown that there is no link between pregnant women taking acetaminophen and then their children getting autism. And they stressed that. And the other thing they pointed to was the FDA's own website that says there is no evidence linking acetaminophen to causing autism in children.
Okay, an important update, and we thank you for that. Still ahead tonight, an immigration arrest turned deadly. What happened when officers pulled a car over in Chicago? And another state restoring its congressional map will tell you which party is poised to flip a seat in the House. Plus, an 11-year-old girl reunites with the woman who saved her from drowning. How the hero pulled off the rescue even though she doesn't know how to swim. Stay with us. We are back now with a deadly clash during an immigration raid in the Chicago area. DHS officials say an ICE agent shot and killed a man as he resisted arrest and dragged the agent with his car. The incident coming as the president vows to send National Guard troops to an American city in the South. Here's Maggie Vespa.
In suburban Chicago, a blood-stained car marking a deadly flashpoint in America's immigration raids. The Department of Homeland Security saying ICE officers in Franklin Park tried stopping a vehicle driven by 38-year-old Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, but say he refused to follow commands and drove his car at law enforcement officers, dragging one a significant distance. ICE saying that officer, who sustained severe injuries, feared for his life, shooting Villegas Gonzalez, who later died at the hospital. DHS describes the individual as a criminal illegal alien with a history of reckless driving, though a review of Villegas Gonzalez's publicly available records by NBC News found no criminal charges. Records show he pleaded guilty to 4 traffic violations, including speeding, the most recent in 2013.
Wow. 2 shots.
Yes. An auto shop surveillance camera capturing the sound of gunshots.
I knew that ICE was going to be near the area, but this really hits close to home.
It follows weeks of protests against immigration raids in Chicago, which President Trump's dubbed Operation Midway Blitz, in his latest crackdown in Democratic-led cities from our nation's capital, and suggesting recently New Orleans could be next, to now this.
We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
that's the next city.
Deeply troubled.
The latest stats show violent crime in Memphis this year is down 17%.
With that, Maggie Vespa joins us tonight from Franklin Park, Illinois. Maggie, you have new reporting tonight about the man who was shot and killed. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Tom, that's right. Late today, ICE confirming to NBC News that he is indeed from Mexico, and that's especially poignant given that it's worth noting tensions here in and around Chicago were already heightened heading into the weekend, especially on Sunday, because Mexican Independence Day celebrations are set to begin here in the city at that time. Meanwhile, it's worth pointing out Governor J.B. Pritzker, obviously a frequent critic of President Trump, speaking out about this, kind of calling for calm while they wait for all the details, calling for a full factual accounting of what happened here. But Congressman Brad Schneider criticizing President Trump and specifically Operation Midway Blitz, saying it's creating a climate of anxiety and fear. His words, something that is bad for everyone. Tom.
All right, Maggie Vespa for us. Maggie, we thank you. Now, an update on that ICE raid in Georgia last week, where hundreds of South Korean nationals, you may remember, were detained outside of a Hyundai plant. Tonight, those workers landing back in South Korea after a week of back-and-forth negotiations with the Trump administration. NBC's Janice Mackey-Frayer was there when they arrived.
Hundreds of workers detained in shackles in the U.S. have returned to South Korea, arriving to applause and dozens of cameras. Officials here telling journalists to not film workers' faces at the airport to protect their privacy. but away from the terminal where workers reunited with family.
How good does it feel to be home?
Very happy. Very happy.
Some spoke publicly for the first time about the immigration raid in Georgia that ignited a diplomatic crisis. These workers said it was like being in a movie with armored vehicles and guns pointed at us, he says. There was no way we could resist, so we all just surrendered and were taken. Others described the cold conditions and prison food. He says he's feeling, quote, nothing but joy to be home. The drama started September 4th when armed agents with ICE stormed a $4.3 billion battery factory being built by Hyundai and LG.
Security, we have a search warrant for the whole site.
475 people were rounded up there, accused by immigration officials of working illegally in the U.S. What type of visas they were on, or if they had visas at all, still isn't clear. U.S. authorities saying using foreign laborers hurts American workers.
We are sending a clear and unequivocal message that those who exploit our workforce, undermine our economy, and violate federal laws will be held accountable.
But the images of Korean workers carted off in handcuffs were on news channels everywhere, sparking outrage here over their treatment.
No one is illegal.
South Korea's government chartering a plane and making a deal to bring them back.
A lot of attention is being paid to these images of the South Korean workers arriving home safely and with dignity after an ordeal that could threaten relations with the U.S.
The raid has set off alarms at South Korea's biggest companies that are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into U.S. manufacturing, the sort of foreign investment President Trump has demanded in trade talks. The problem is visas. Companies here often use short-term B1s or B2s or visa waiver programs to get skilled workers onto projects. Even South Korea's president said there needs to be a better system, or companies here might hesitate to gamble on the U.S.
They're not there to take American jobs away, but semiconductors, electric batteries, there's not that much domain expertise in the U.S. right now. And for the Korean companies who invested a lot of money in the U.S., they need to send people there to execute on the business plan.
There's political fallout to deal with, too, given how upset many South Koreans have been that an ally would treat their workers the way they did. I felt like this wasn't something that would happen in the America we know, he says. Even if perceptions of America change here, she says, I'm not sure that would actually affect the United States. Already, LG has confirmed that the opening of that battery factory will be delayed 2 to 3 months. One challenge, convincing the technicians building it to go back. Nobody is going to stay and work when it's like this, says this engineer. For now, the returning workers have been urged to rest. I'll cook something delicious to make them feel better, says this mom. And with that, he was heading home. Janice Mackey-Frayer, NBC News, Incheon, South Korea.
And when we come back, we talk to a young Republican and a young Democrat about cooling down the rhetoric around Charlie Kirk's death and the latest longtime cast member leaving Saturday Night Live just weeks before the start of season 51. But first, top stories, top moment, and the thank you from one little girl to the woman who saved her life. 11-year-old Mia Garcia reunited with Bridget Addison, the woman who rescued her from drowning at Lakes Park in South Fort Myers. Addison jumping right in to save the little girl, even though she herself did not know how to swim. Here's the moment they were reunited and what they told our Fort Myers Naples affiliate WBBH right after.
I'm so happy to know you okay. I don't feel like I'm really a hero. I feel like if you see anybody in distress, help them.
She saved me from gators.
And she says she doesn't consider herself a hero. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel okay because she is a hero. She just probably doesn't see that.
She is definitely a hero. All right, stay with us. More news on the way. We are back now with Top Stories news feed. Missouri's state legislature passing a plan to redraw the state's congressional map, turning a Democratic-held district into a Republican-leaning seat. Now the map is heading to the governor's desk, where he's expected to sign it into law. Missouri is the latest state to jump into the nationwide redistricting battle aimed at shifting the balance of power in Congress in next year's midterm elections. And Taylor Swift is getting caught up in the legal drama between It Ends With Us co-stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Attorneys saying that Swift agreed to sit for a deposition next month, but her lawyers are pushing back on that and saying the pop star will only appear if she is forced to. Baldoni and Lively have been in a months-long court battle after she sued him for sexual harassment. And Ego Wodum is the latest cast member to announce they're leaving Saturday Night Live. She wrote in a post on social media today, "The hardest part of a great party is knowing when to say goodnight." Wodum has been on the show for 7 seasons, and she joins a growing list of departing cast this summer, including Heidi Gardner, Devin Walker, Michael Longfellow, and Emil Joaquim. SNL's 51st season premieres next month. Okay, authorities in Costa Rica raiding a hotel now where the son of former New York Yankees outfielder Brett Gardner passed away during a family vacation. Prosecutors saying they ordered documents and digital evidence to be turned over. Investigators first searched the hotel back in March, a week after 14-year-old Miller Gardner was found dead. Costa Rican officials previously determined he died of carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay, we want to return now to our top story as we learn more about tonight and Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. His assassination sparking calls to tone down violent political rhetoric. Utah's governor today with an urgent plea to lawmakers and citizens alike. Here's Gabe Gutierrez with this report.
Tonight, just minutes after announcing the arrest of the suspect police say killed Charlie Kirk.
It is an attack on all of us. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are.
An urgent call to lower the temperature.
That's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox calling the moment much bigger than one person's assassination.
I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history, yes. The question is what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history?
Echoed by top Democrats.
We'll just have to change the rhetorical nature of our debate.
The president also remembering Kirk.
He was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see people respond.
Kirk's assassination at just 31 years old has devastated those who knew him.
Charlie was a friend, but who's really hurting today is his family, you know.
But it's also shaken people who disagreed with him. Kirk was killed while answering questions from people who did not share his views, like he often did at campus events. People like Hunter Kozak.
It's awful, and a father doesn't have his kids anymore.
Kozak was asking Kirk about gun violence the moment he was shot, now posting this plea.
He's still a human being. Have we forgotten that? Are we crazy? I stand by so little of everything that he said, but one of the things that he stood by was conversation.
The president has ordered that flags remain at half-staff in honor of Kirk through Sunday evening. Tom.
Gabe Gutierrez at the White House, and the governor of Utah not just addressing the public today, but also bringing together young leaders on both sides of the aisle for an honest and open conversation about the heated political climate. Joining me tonight here on Top Story, 2 activists who are both involved in the Utah political scene. Ben Anderson from the Utah Young Democrats and Zach Wilson from the Utah Young Republicans. We thank you both for being here tonight. I want to start with Zach. I'll start with you. We want to play a little more of Governor Cox, and I'll get your thoughts right after that.
We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me.
So much has happened this week. What did you both make of the governor's words? Zach, I'll start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Such a tragic couple days. Really been numbing and painful for so many people. You know, our condolences go out to Erica and the kids and rest of his family, friends, and the millions of people really across the country, the young people, older people, whoever that looked up to Charlie and who were really brought into the political process by Charlie. Anyway, it's a tragic time, and it's a time of reflection. I think I've encouraged people to feel what you're feeling and accept that and go through that, and then to open your mouth and to have discussions and have those tough conversations that need to be had, and doing that in a respectful way where people can grow together and not become entrenched and further down on what they believed anyway. But anyway, I think it's a time for contemplation and reflection on the root cause of what killed Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, Ben, what about your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's horrifying to see something like this happen anywhere, let alone in your own state. I think, I absolutely agree with the governor that now is the time we need to turn down the temperature. We need to stop political violence in all of its forms. And I think that starts with each and every person. It starts with politicians. It starts with activists, people who are involved. We all definitely need to make sure that we are doing our part to end political violence. Because the thing about it is, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. It can affect you, and it is not a partisan issue, and it should not be a partisan issue. So I absolutely believe we need to strive to end.
How will this affect the way you guys invite political leaders onto your college campuses?
I will say what we like to do here in Utah is we like to hear lots of different perspectives. I think even within the Democratic Party, we have a very big tent, like we like to call it, a wide range of perspectives. Everyone does not agree on everything. And I think we welcome that. I think, especially here in Utah, we kind of see that as the Utah way of coming together across differences, finding common ground, and working towards our shared ideals and values. And I think, especially moving forward, that's going to be a priority.
Ben, when you listen to the governor, and you take his instructions, how do you make sure that something like this, you can't control all political speech and debates and or political violence, but at least on your campuses and in your communities, Ben, how do you, I should say, Zach, I'm sorry, how do you make sure you can sort of live up to what the governor's asking?
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance. You got to be careful, first of all, security and things of that nature. I saw some recent surveys saying that a lot of young people are more okay with silencing or shouting down or even violence when it comes to political opposition. I think that's a very dangerous path to walk down. So I think one is modeling good leadership, level-headed leadership, and allowing what Charlie so frequently talked about, which was freedom of speech. That's a guy that went into the most hostile of environments and really encouraged anyone to come up to the mic and engage. And there'd be people sometimes, from clips that I've seen that would be booing or trying to silence people. He said, no, let him or her talk. And I think that's important, is letting people speak, the peaceful right to assembly. This is some of the core stuff that the country's founded upon. Yeah. And we need to model that, especially on college campuses, which is supposed to be the free exchange of thoughts. That is where you go to learn and grow and engage with new ideas, not shut them down and intimidate them. So I agree with you.
Ben, have you actively done anything? I know it's been sort of a shocking 48 hours, but have you done anything sort of in these last 2 days to sort of reach across the aisle?
I think the first step in moving forward in this way is a shift in mindset, and I think this is something that we all have to sit and process with. Understanding that political violence is becoming more and more frequent, and it's something that we are going to have to grapple with. And I think it starts individually, recognizing it as a problem and finding ways to be part of a solution. And I think it absolutely has to do with respecting others with different viewpoints, no matter how much you disagree with them, and understanding the importance of open and free political dialogue, because that is what our democracy is all about, is being able to debate issues openly and safely and peacefully. And I think that is what we all have to recommit to individually to start with.
Zach, I'm going to give you the last word here. We only have about 30 seconds. But what is your message to the people that you lead within your own community?
Yeah, this kind of goes back. I appreciate the chance, Tom. This goes back to the original point, which is go through what you're going through, experience and feel what you're feeling, and then step up and seek the help that you might need as you're going through this difficulty, this trial. But then it is to engage, to get into the conversation, and again to get to the root cause of what is causing violence like this. And we have other stories we could point to. I'd say also that our country is one that has gone through moments of immense turbulence. You look at the 1960s, for example, multiple assassinations, unrest, riots, and we came out stronger because of it. So I would just say to engage in an optimistic and courageous voice in a way that's respectful and, of course, peaceful. But don't shirk away from what you believe. Do it in a way that.
Okay, we'll end it there. Zach Wilson, Ben Anderson, we thank you so much for joining Top Story. There's still much more news ahead when we come back. The outpouring of love for an octopus at an LA aquarium. This is an incredible story. Why ghost pepper is capturing so many hearts. Tonight, a Southern California community coming together to show their love for their hometown octopus, ghost pepper. Emily Aketa on the touching reason why so many are saying goodbye to the fun-spirited eight-legged creature.
The Aquarium of the Pacific in California, this giant Pacific octopus first arrived last summer quite small.
She was only 4 pounds and so tiny.
But that tiny-sized cephalopod quickly earned the name Ghost Pepper for her rambunctiousness. This is how she gets weighed.
I am winded.
And as she's grown, so has her following. One person posting, "I have her tattooed."
Often octopuses show shy tendencies, but that wasn't really the case with Ghost.
Yeah, she's very spunky and outgoing.
But this week, a gutting update on Ghost, as the aquarium announced the octopus has entered senescence, the final stage of life after laying eggs. Fans sharing an outpouring of love online, writing, "She's made so many people happy, and she's my first stop whenever I come and visit."
I remember the day when it all started.
Fascination with octopuses soared after the 2020 Netflix documentary My Octopus Teacher spotlighted a rare relationship forged between a filmmaker and common octopus. Giant Pacific octopuses like Ghost have one of the longest lifespans of any kind of octopus, 3 to 5 years, which is the range Ghost is believed to be in.
And what we really want to do is inspire people to care about the ocean and protecting habitats where ghosts live.
As this octopus's 8 arms have reached into America's heart. Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
All right, Emily Aketa for us. Emily, we thank you for that story. We want to turn now to Top Story's Global Watch. We start with an emergency landing in Japan, leaving at least 2 passengers hurt. A United Airlines plane heading to the Philippines with more than 140 people on board, forced to touch down in Osaka. You can see passengers going down the escape slides with emergency crews on the tarmac. There were reports of a possible fire in the cargo hold, but United says an initial inspection came back all clear. Okay, chaos erupting in Ecuador as people are taking to the streets to protest the government. Video shows police in riot gear clashing with demonstrators in the nation's capital and firing tear gas to break up the crowds. Protesters rallying against what they describe as authoritarian and ineffective governance, I should say. And Nepal's president appointing the first woman to lead the country's government after days of deadly protests, which we've been reporting here. Sushila Karki now serving as the interim prime minister. She's a former Supreme Court Chief Justice and known for taking a stand against government corruption. It comes after those violent demonstrations this week left more than 50 people dead and caused the previous administration to collapse over that social media ban. And Albania's prime minister naming a first-of-its-kind cabinet member today, but it's not a human cabinet member. It's an AI-generated chatbot. You can see it right here. The bot's official name is Diala, which means son in Albanian, and it's meant to help crack down on corruption by managing how the government contracts private companies for various projects. This project launching with the help of Microsoft. Pretty interesting. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.